What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be installing the BBK Shorty headers on my 2015 Mustang V6. And you heard that right. For all of you who guys are watching, I've never really disclosed what kind of engine this car is, and unfortunately it is a V6. At the time of the purchase of this car, my old car was having some issues, but then I ended up getting it fixed, and because of that I really needed a car, and honestly I could not afford a V8 S550, and I knew I wanted an S550 period. I don't like the S197s. I like all the features that the S550 come with, and because of that, it was my budget either equated to a V6 or EcoBoost at the time. Right now I'm pretty sure I can afford a V8, but I've already done so much to this car that I don't ever plan on getting rid of it. But I'm not an EcoBoost at all. I'd rather have the V6 because of the sound that it produces, and honestly it's pretty fast in my opinion, so that's why I went with the V6. But like I said, we are planning on installing BBK Shorty headers on this, which I will show you what they look like in just a second. So these are the BBK Shorty headers that we're going to be installing today. And if you guys have watched any of my videos, you guys will know that I actually have a Borla Attack catback on this car, and that's it. So today we're actually going to be changing the headers. So we will have BBK Shorty headers, and then we'll have Borla Attack catback, and that's only phase 2 of this car. And then after that, I'm going to be installing the Lethal Performance off legs, which are going to be stage 3. And then lastly, for stage 4, I'm going to be doing a MPT tune. Alright guys, so quick little update. We have managed to get all 3 bolts on both sides. So this is a tight fit. You have one back there, one in the middle, one in the front. That's the harder side. And then on this side, you're supposed to have one right there, one, it's focusing on my finger, one in the middle right there, and one back there, which all 3 are out. So now we got to get the 3 on the bottom on both sides, and then the ones that hold the catalytic converter, which are, there's not focusing, but there's 2 bolts down there. Alrighty guys, so we ran into some complications. Unfortunately, to get the 2 bolts that hold the manifold to the catalytic converter on at least the driver's side are super tough. We use the impact gun and we can't get them out, so we're gonna end up torching them and then seeing if we're able to loosen it at least. And then I've noticed that I'm actually able to get the 3 bolts from this side of the manifold from the top side, so I only have the car jacked on this side so far. But the biggest issue so far is getting those 2 bolts that hold the manifold to the actual catalytic converter, which in the future I am planning on changing those out, but just not today. But hopefully in the future it's not that hard. Like I said, we're going to end up using a blowtorch, heating them up and seeing how that goes, just letting you guys know. So if you guys ever do this install, we got the top 3 and the top 3 on this side, super easy. It seems like I can get the bottom 3 on this side from on the top side, which I'm going to do. Which, before I forget, we have another issue. Unfortunately for me, the whole bolt is coming out with the whole stud. So we've been PP blasting them so that way we can put a socket, or so we can try to remove the actual nut from this and still use those, because BBK only gives you 4 of them, and so far all 6 of the top have came out. So I would definitely recommend using some PP blaster and loosening and getting these loosed up and getting all the rust and everything out, so that way this doesn't happen to you. Alright guys, quick update. So I've been struggling mainly, but I managed to get all, let's see if I can get it. I managed to get all 6 bolts off of this, and unfortunately the bolts that actually hold the manifold and the leg pipes are super tight, so it's been a pain in the butt. So what I'm actually going to end up doing, I'm going to skip stage 3 and go straight to stage 4. We're actually going to take out the whole cat and the manifold, and we're actually going to get them all at once, and we're going to connect them together, just because the bolts that hold the catalytic converter and the actual manifold are super tight. So just a quick little update. And then on this side I still got 3 left, I think, or 2, and then we're gonna just disconnect them from the resonator, which is down here, which is right, let's see if I can get there's right there, it's connected through there, and then it up there. So quick little update. Alrighty guys, so about 4.5 hours later, this has been one of the worst experiences I've had with exhaust, just because the Borla Attack catback was a breeze, but then again there wasn't much that had to be done. So let me show you what step we're at. I'm actually calling it a night just because it is getting darker and it's still winter, so it's still going to get colder. So you know, today's done. I've done the most I want to do tonight, and actually I've accomplished a lot. But like I said earlier, we are in a weird stage because instead of going to stage 3 or stage 2, which would be just the Borla Attack catback and the headers, we're just going to skip that, and we took the whole catalytic converter off with the manifold and all that. So tomorrow I'm going to install the off legs with no cats and also the header. So this thing is going to be fully, pretty much, I would say straight pipe, but it's not, because of course the Borla Attack catback exhaust still has the resonator and it still has the muffler, so it's technically not straight pipe, but you know. So let me show you where we're at. So here on the car, you can see we have absolutely no manifolds on this car. We got them both out on both sides, and because of that we have everything off. And let me show you what I'm talking about. So like I was saying earlier, we got the whole, this is literally the manifold right there, all the way to the, this is one hefty, and I mean hefty, catalytic converter right here. So straight there, and that's where it meets the resonator. Originally I wanted to do just this because I don't have the defuelers or defoggers for the second bank O2 sensor, and if you do put those, the computer actually thinks you do have a catalytic converter, so that way you don't get a check engine light. And also I've heard that sometimes you get issues with it, which honestly the reason we decided to just skip that and just put the off legs or whatever they're called without that is because these bolts right here were such a pain in the butt to get out without having the whole thing outside of the car. Once we were able to get the whole catalytic converter and the manifold out, they're a lot easier. Unfortunately I don't have much space because I am doing it on my driveway, and I only have jack stands, and on top of that we're doing it on gravel, so that's really sketchy. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to have a whole car on gravel. So that's pretty much what we've done today. Tomorrow we're actually going to be installing and finishing the install of the BBK Shorty headers and the off-road legs. So that should be tomorrow. I think I'm actually going to cut this in 2 videos, just so, because tomorrow I'm also going to add clips of the car being revved and all that, so that way you can hear the comparisons of a stock, just a Borla Attack from everything else stock, and then a full setup, so that way you can hear a big difference. Like I said, in the future I do plan on getting MPT tuned, so that way that adds more to it. Alright guys, so that'll be the end of part 1. It's still in jack stand, still floating, as you can see. Don Jackson floating, and there's my old car, Mitsubishi 2001 V6 Eclipse. And I also want to mention I do have some damage. Hit a rock chip, and on top of that, the other day, unfortunately, when I was going down a ramp, when I was going to McDonald's to eat, it was steeper than I thought, and unfortunately I broke that grill, which I need to get fixed. So there are things wrong with this car, and I do 100% know what they are, but still, this is my baby. But regardless, that is the end of today's video. Oh, before I go, I do want to talk about a couple things that you guys will need to do this install. So I'm gonna leave a comment in the description, or on the actual comment section for you guys who are wanting to know how to do this install. So on my car, at least, I've seen other people do this install, and theirs have been a little bit different. So on the driver's side, manifold, there is actually a heat shield that you need an 8 millimeter. It has 2 bolts, you get that out, and for every other bolt on the actual manifolds, they are a 1/2 inch. So make sure you have a 1/2 inch. 12 millimeters too small, and 13 millimeters too big. If you use a 13, it does work, but you'll start rounding out those edges, so please make sure you don't use that. And for the catalytic converter, they're actually 15s, I believe, but on my application, because I already had the off leg catalytic converter delete, I didn't end up using that just because it was a pain. It's super hard to do when you're on jack stands on a gravel road or gravel driveway. It's really fishy, and honestly I didn't want to do it that way. So like I said, we're skipping to that. Also, I would recommend for some of those bolts and stuff like that, please have a heat torch to get the both O2 sensors off the original pipes. We had to use a blowtorch just because they're on there so hard, and the blowtorch actually warms it up and makes it a lot easier to actually crank them off. So that's another recommendation that I would recommend. But other than that, it definitely takes some time, so please take your time. But other than that, yeah, tune in tomorrow. I should upload this the day before, the day after. I should upload those the day after or 2 days after I actually do this. Like I said, tomorrow's video is going to consist of me actually installing them and actually revving the car and doing all of that. I've already recorded the clips of the stock system, a cold start, a rev, and also just some B-roll, so that's all there. Now I just need to record it. Now I just need to record when I actually install everything new. But I hope you guys have a wonderful new year. I know the new year just started. It is January like 12th or 15th, I believe. I don't remember the exact date. But so far, my year has been pretty good. I've just been trying to save up money to actually put parts into this car. And also just for life, because life right now with COVID and everything have been in pain in the rear. So without further ado, hope you guys enjoy and peace out.